So welcome, I am Levison Wood, and with me today I've got Cathán Mayfair from Within You, and we're going to talk all about how AI is revolutionising the world. In the world of exploration, certainly in my world, AI is causing a lot of waves. I meet a lot of very interesting people on my travels, but here we are in Battersea, and we're actually neighbours, and actually I thought it'd be really good to talk to you about some of the work that you're doing, particularly when it comes to mapping consciousness. I mean, Kat, what is consciousness, and how is that relevant?
Consciousness is subjective, and it is perception based. It's unique for every individual and their experiences. And we are mapping human consciousness, and how we do that. The approach is through the neuroscience of AI.
This is the kind of stuff that Elon Musk is doing through Neuralink, right? How is what you do different to the things that he's
I
doing?
appreciate what Elon Musk has done, because it helps those that are handicapped and those that are missing limbs, and so it's great for that. But it is invasive, so you have to have this microchip inside of you implanted. We're doing a non-invasive. So non-invasive is we map the individual through our equipment, our skin patches, our EEG, and through MEG, and we get the data. In which we are able to analyze the data, interpret the data to understand who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. And from this premise, we get an idea of the person's cognition, their emotions, their behaviors, and their intentions.
Okay, I mean, that all sounds really valuable. What are the utilities for this? What are we going to use this for?
What if I told you, what if your thoughts could directly control technology?
Okay.
Mapping our body's neural activities could revolutionize human AI interactions, transforming everything from healthcare to education. This isn't science fiction. This is the new frontier of consciousness AI, and it's happening now.
I mean, it all sounds very sci-fi, and it sounds like what? So you're talking about thought control. I mean, that sounds quite scary, is it?
It is scaring people, because the whole thought of invasively implanting a brain chip into your brain. I mean, how does that feel? To slice open your brain.
I'm not sure I'm going to be volunteering for that.
I don't know, but it's very beneficial for those that are handicapped, and the technology has its validation. We believe in a holistic, non-invasive way to implementing human AI interactions. It's where we need to head towards, because again, we have to understand who we are. It seems like we're being thrown technologies that are conditioning us. I don't know if you've seen some of these Oura Ring, or some of these Whoop, and some of these red light therapies, in which they are superficial to me, because it knows nothing about you, but yet they're set in parameters to tell you what you are, in a sense of from what a group of a pool of group subject matters that may or may not apply to you, and I think that's problematic. By mapping you, it's bespoke. We understand who you are, your composition, your biology, and your physical aspects, and that helps us mentor or help us give precise healthcare measures for the person.
I mean, I can imagine a lot of people at their, who are pioneers in their field, athletes, sportsmen. I'm an explorer. I know a lot of people who are always pushing boundaries, who would be very interested in this, developing themselves to their peak physical and mental ability. But how can it help day to day?
Well, for day to day, you want to know what's going on, why you think and feel the way you do. Basically, it's a call it an encyclopedia of data of yourself, and how you apply it could be applied to many facets of technologies these days. I mentioned healthcare, I mentioned education, and in terms of education, there's a lot that we can do there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of how we can improve education. Both my parents are teachers. I'm also the Chancellor of the University of Staffordshire. And we're on a quest really to develop new educational programs, not just in the UK, but globally as well. I'd be interested to see how your technology might have application within the sphere of education? I mean, how do you see this working, in some of the different subjects?
Well, the first part, once we leverage our technology, it provides insights to cognitive performance,
Yeah.
lifestyle choices, and biological aging processes, which are the focus point for a lot of the education in terms of things that are widespread right now. Certain trends are esports.
Yeah, I mean, esports is really is really being pioneered by my university. Actually,
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's a huge course. It's something that over the last sort of 10 years has really gained traction as a valid vocation really. And it's proving a game changer. There's so many people who are now going into that field, both in terms of coding. As you know, the sort of esports gaming industry is enormous. Absolutely huge in terms of the revenue and occupational sort of employment opportunities that it provides. I mean, how can your technology? I mean, it sounds like whereas before we'd do a sort of personality test and sort of tick some boxes, and then we'd be categorized in one way or another. You might be good at this, you might be good at that. But what you're saying seems to be like you're providing a completely bespoke experience based on how your brain works.
And that old psychology method is running out of its time.
Yeah.
With esports, we want to optimize cognitive function. We want to be able to enhance the focus of a person, their reaction times, and at the same time manage their mental health, and for stress, anxiety, and physical health. But how we do this is we would map, model, and classify the players' neuroactivities and the players' experiences to optimize their cognitive performance, to focus, and to enhance their emotional performance for quick reactions. The simulations are done through our digital twin codex technology, where once we are able to get the neural activities and we're able to feed into the digital twin simulations in which we can have outcomes to create customized interventions for the persons. And all of our, it's never just one intervention. There's multiple interventions that we create because we understand people have multiple versions of themselves. Some have more than others. Some have 10, some have hundreds versions of themselves do things.
So it's not just about your personality. This could be linked in with
It's genetics.
Your genetics, your biomechanics, your nutrition, the whole spectrum.
That's why you have to be monitored and measured 24/7.
Right.
Through our skin patches.
Okay. What does that look like then? Are we going to be all walking around with big brain scanners or?
That was the old part where we had brain scanners, and I'm sure you remember your experience I brain mapped you with EEGs and MEG. But the new frontier is conscious AI, and we have a new neural technology. It's a next gen technology where there's skin patches. They're size little patches. They're stickers in which we put them throughout the body, and it maps your neural activities, so that we can get a 24/7 monitoring of what's going on there and collecting your data.
And when is this technology coming? When are we all going to be walking around with these patches?
I think sooner than later, because it's very vital that we understand who we are. It's very vital that we have this medical data.
Yeah.
So that way, the future would be through implementing what our needs are on a day-to-day basis on every second.
So this thing is recording you, it's gathering your data, and then feeding this information to you. How? On your phone or what?
And through your phone, your digital twin.
So your digital twin is literally an app on your phone.
It's on an app on your phone, and it gives you all the metrics, your health metrics, any parameters you set on yourself emotionally, cognitively. What are your intentions day to day?
Yeah.
What is your behavior spikes?
This thing will bleep and say it's 3 p.m. It knows that at 3 o'clock you've got to go for your afternoon walk.
Every detail. No longer all these tech innovations that people are pouring on themselves, because a lot of it is forced conditioning.
Right.
On something that's unnatural because they don't have any data on you.
Yeah.
We are constantly evolving. Our souls are constantly evolving. I like to say it's not scientific, but spirituality is always growing. And I believe all of us have a path in life, and a lot of us could expand quickly if there are, let's say, 10 versions of you. And within seconds, you can decide how you would have your day-to-day. What would Levison would do today? Or how would he live vicariously through digital 1, digital 2, digital 3 version of himself? But they all have outcomes within seconds.
Right.
And
So if
you
I'm
would
exploring
choose-
the world, you're creating these digital twins. I can be having all these simultaneous experiences.
at the same time. But what does that do for you? They all come back to you.
Right.
They all come back to you, and your knowledge just flourishes and you expand more.
Right.
You can handle it.
I don't know if I
You can handle it, you know.
Okay, wow. Okay, the future, it sounds like the future is here. Where is, who's pioneering this technology now? It sounds like you've got this great idea.
We have it, and we're doing it right now. We're mapping people here at Battersea Power Station daily. But the key thing here is to understand who we are.
Yeah.
The very most important thing we can ever do is understand our path. What are we doing? Where are we going? If you can't answer that, then that's going to be a huge problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So education, going back to that, there's a lot we can do with that. Because we mentioned anti-aging. We mentioned, did we talk about obesity?
Let's talk about obesity, yeah. I was traveling out in the Middle East recently, and esports is huge in places like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE.
Oh, is it?
I mean, it's obviously very hot there, and people tend to spend a lot more time indoors.
Air conditioning.
And there's been a big push towards real life sports activities, but also how can your technology assist in places like that where there is a real will to be at the forefront of cutting edge technology, and yet there are limitations when it comes to extreme weather. I mean, that's going to be a big problem around the world with climate change. Can you help with that?
I think obesity, anywhere you are in the world, let's say the Middle East, the key factor is to understand the factors contributing to obesity. And what are some of these factors? Poor diet, lack of physical activity, genetic factors, metabolic factors, environmental and behavioral factors, and socioeconomic factors. When you map the individual, we're able to offer tailored strategies for behavioral changes, combating sedentary habits, and create a behavior, a healthier routine.
So really, it sounds like your focus is healthier bodies and healthier minds combined.
It's health. It's a mindset. It's definitely a mindset. We want to help you understand consciously and subconsciously how you feel and how you think on a day-to-day basis, and you'll be surprised how much environment impacts you. And I create a digital twin for myself. So every day I read. Or I read up on my data.
Right.
And it tells me how I'm going to be today, how I'm going to be tomorrow, and the next day.
What kind of things? Like, give me some examples.
So today is what? Cognitive. My mental clarity is good. All right. My emotion levels are good.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, so it's good. Sometimes it's 1 out of 10. So it
Oh,
tells
really?
me, yeah.
Okay, right.
My behavior is 7 out of 10. And it gives me my intention today. What my focus is, it's about mental clarity, and I have emotional stability, and to progress on my task that I set. It gives me my sexual energy.
Right.
It gives me yes and no. Today, are you going to be yes or are you going to be no?
In regards with
Sometimes people need to be decision makers for the day, and so
yeah.
it gets me like some people are just looking for clues.
So, for those who are concerned about, like, you talk about data privacy. I mean,
Data
what
protection.
if people don't want to be completely monitored all the time? What if those who are concerned that this data is going to be sold to advertising agencies and then suddenly going to be bombarded with?
It can't be, because that's my pledge of integrity. These are all encryptions.
Yeah.
And I don't even keep the data. I just can't. It's anonymous data. And it's encrypted technology. And with Web3, that makes it more prevalent.
Yeah. There we go. You heard it here first. The future is here. Cathán Mayfair from Within You, bringing the benefits of AI technology to enable people to fulfill their full potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.